Please remember to like, subscribe, and never forget to ring that bell.
All right. Let me tell you about my show. Wednesday nights. And here we go. It's the rule of three with the touch of Basco. And like the Joker says, and here we go. It's Wednesday night and it's 9 o'clock. Click on the thumbnail, it's about to get hot. We get 3 different questions in only 3 minutes. It ain't for the scared, it ain't for the timid. Some will like us and some just don't. A lot will back us and some just won't. It don't matter with the Khaos crew. We specialize in making things do what they do. So sit back, chill, and enjoy the show with me, Chris, Guy Scar, and Nzo.
Fire, peace, 9 o'clock, Wednesday nights. Don't miss it. Check us out.
What is up, everybody? I am Chris Knight, and this is the Rule of Three on Khaos Central, the last show of the week. Well, depending on if we have roundtables, the Star Wars Senate, anything like that. But I got the usuals with me today. We're going to go and let them have a second to talk about themselves and what they're doing. And we will start with Danny. Danny, tell everybody what's going on with you.
I'm Danny, aka Comic Chat. You can find me here on this channel Monday through Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Not doing much, but I'm looking forward to, I think Prey comes out on Friday, so I want to see that.
There you go. Okay.
Might talk
and
about it
Nzo.
Saturday.
What up, yo? Biggaford Entertainment. The channel. No OOC tonight. Roberto's under the weather, so we'll be back next week. But other than that, yeah, I'm excited for Prey too. I want to see what I hope it's good.
Yeah, very good. And of course, like I said, I'm Chris Knight. Rural Review 3000 is my channel. Go check it out. We got Dandelion Fluff. We've got Mad's Mama Bear. We have Drop Shop, guys. Eyes only. Hey, guys, check it out really quick. There is a poll up right now to see what you guys want as the first question picked tonight. And of course, we'll go and we'll pick whichever one has the highest thing. We'll wait for a couple seconds. We got a few votes. Let's get some more in there. Share out my tweet that just came out, guys, and let everybody know we're live. Okay, real quick. Yesterday on your show, Nzo, we watched Andor. Who's doing the Andor series?
Not me. Not me.
You guys are gonna watch it?
I'll probably watch it. You muted, Danny.
I might watch it, but I ain't doing a roundtable. That is out of the question.
Do you want to be on it though?
Well, I might be on it.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
let me say, how many episodes is it? 8? This one?
12.
12.
I'm gonna give it 3 episodes. If I ain't feeling it, I'm gonna respectfully drop off for the roundtable.
Well, you have the first 3 episodes come out the first night.
Yeah,
So you
that's
get
what I'm
3
saying.
episodes the first
I'm
night.
gonna get them 3.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see how they look. If they ain't got my attention, then you're gonna see on the DM a thumbs down. And I don't even want to waste your time.
When does Andor come out?
September 18th, I think.
September 18th?
Yeah.
Oh
I
shit!
think
It's
so.
September. Oh god. I may bite the bullet because Chris, you did the last one, right?
Yes, I did Obi-Wan, yeah.
Christian Obi-Wan.
And then Danny's got
I got the
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. So
You got the She-Hulk, so yeah, I guess I'll take the Andor then.
You know what's gonna happen is it's gonna leave me with the I Am Groot, whatever the fuck that is.
I'm definitely gonna be on that. But also, you gotta do crawl, bro.
Well, you guys want the crawl?
If you want to do a crawl, you send it to me. I'll get you the crawl made real quick.
All right.
I don't
ain't
know.
got to crawl to the last one. Well, how did it end?
Yeah, I know. I didn't get the crawl.
Well, when Bad Batch comes back, we might fix that.
Yeah, we could do that.
All right, guys. We got 6 people watching. Let's get some more people in here, but we got some votes. I'm going to end the poll right now. And the first door is going to be door number 3, and then number 1, then number 2. That's what they said. So here we go.
I gotta ask you guys this though. Before we start, any of you guys seen The Gray Man yet?
I seen parts of it. What I saw was fire. I went to sleep on it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, but I've heard about it.
Yep. I'm planning on watching it this weekend.
Oh, and one last thing, because I sent it to Danny, he didn't respond to me because he's probably like, "What the fuck?" But Super Pets is lit.
No, I heard a lot of people tell me that it's really good.
Super Pets was good, man.
Something else you told me was good, and I was like, "What is this?"
Which one?
It was another cartoon or something.
Oh, was it?
What was the last cartoon that came out? It was something you sent. You said it was good. I was like, "What?" I can't think. It'll come to me.
Yeah.
It was on Nzo Vision. I know it's something you sent me.
Okay. I'll check and see. I don't remember, but I'll check.
All right. So they said number 3. That is the first one we're going to go for. Oh, boy. Strap in, guys. Are terms like slave, Indian, redskin, Black Hawk, chief, like slave one, slave lady, Cleveland Indians, Washington Redskins, Kansas City Chiefs, Chicago Blackhawks, something that should be shunned, embraced, or left alone, and who should decide?
Wow.
Oh my God.
I told you. I told you, dude. I got 2
Dog Shot told me
like
Chip and Dale. That's exactly what it was. Hell no.
Oh, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Was?
Yo, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers was fire, bro.
That was crazy.
No, you didn't like it? Chris, you seen it?
Thank you, Drop Shot.
Yes, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, it is not necessarily a great movie, but the amount of cameos in it, fucking hilarious.
Show, it is 2 against 1, so I don't even phase me. Don't even phase me.
It ain't like that, Danny. It ain't like that.
It is. Okay.
No.
I got the video footage to prove otherwise.
Oh.
I'm with Nzo.
Yeah. Well, I'm not always with Nzo. What are you talking about? You're the one that brings all the yes men in. That's why Nzo and I gotta stick together sometimes, because it's like, dude, what the fuck?
Okay, who has the least amount of subscribers? Okay, thank you. I get these yes men, because if I got all these yes men, I'd be having more subs. I've been stuck on the same subs damn near 2 years now, so I don't want to hear about no yes men.
I just want to say I only have as much as I do because of Versus. That's the only reason. Wasn't for Versus, I wouldn't have those subs.
No matter.
Oh,
thank you, Drop Shot. I knew it was something.
Shifty's with you.
Rescue Rangers was a bastardization of the series, and what they should have done with that, DuckTales and Tailspin and a CG shared universe film. I don't know about all that, because last night Shifty was
yeah, right.
This guy butt here was, and he back on again. Tony Gilroy. I don't even know who Tony Gilroy is.
Yeah, we can't take Shifty Gizm's word for it at all, because he likes some caca.
Caca. All right, guys. What? You know, some realtors are removing the term master for the bedrooms and bathrooms too.
What?
Oh, all right, let's get to this. Do you want to see it again, real quick?
No.
Okay. No, I see it in the chat. Sounds good. Who's first, Danny?
I don't care. Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Okay, Danny. 3 minutes. Time starts now.
I don't think they should change this stuff, especially I think Mark said it. Some of this stuff was like 30 years old. I don't know when the Redskins was first was bought and that phrase was used. If you want to help anybody out, give them some of that money, okay? The person that you're offending, okay, we're not going to change your name, but we're going to give you 2% of the profits made if you feel offended. So send Blackhawks 2% of whatever the hockey network, whatever makes. Send Redskins 2%. The owner, if you feel that hurt and stuff, okay, money will make me feel better, okay. There's a in fun, okay, Give me my 40 acres and a mule and send me 10% or whatever, or 2%. I'm cool with that. I just think all this cancel culture and all this kind of stuff is crazy. This stuff I have never heard, and I've been around a lot of Native Americans in my day, say I am just offended to be called the Washington Redskins. I just never heard that. There may be some out there, and if they are, then I apologize if that offends you because we all got things that offend us. But I've never really heard anybody up in arms about the Redskins or the Cleveland Indians or the Blackhawks. Um, I don't see maybe the Redskins. I can see that being a derogatory word. I have heard that used like old westerns and stuff, and a derogatory phrase. I've never heard black skin or the Cleveland Indians. They are Indians, so why not refer to them as what they are? That's not a derogatory word in my opinion. Um, the slave one and the slave two. Sometimes words can have double meanings. Slave, for one period in time, meant someone that was bonded and stuff. But the slave, like I think that's why I used it last night. If you're in the world of photography, one lighting is the master lighting, and I think the second one is called a slave because it's working off each other, not because one is more important than the other one, but that's just what you call it. Also, I think they made a comparison that maybe um, Boba Fett had a number of ships, so he just referred to them as slave one, two, three, whatever. I don't know what it is, but sometimes you gotta have a little bit of common sense to this stuff, and words can be used a certain way. Now, some words can't be used a certain way. But look at the word N word that some people find so offensive. Spell one way, it means this. Spell another way is a term of endearment for some people. So if that can be explained that way, then certainly the word slave, black hawk, Indian, other serve. If you got common sense, use it in a correct way. Some people, then this is really silly.
Very good. All right. Anzo, 3 minutes. Go.
I actually kind of agree with some of the things Danny said, right? I do think a lot of people are really too sensitive for certain things. I do remember there being some sort of backlash to the Washington Redskins at one point. But again, with all these stuff that goes on, like all the backlash, like cancel culture and SJW, it's a very small minority to me, but it seems like they have the biggest voice, right? And because of that, they feel like, well, everything is offensive now. You know what I mean? But I also say, like, if the New York team was like the New York Negroes, I probably wouldn't like that. You know what I mean? I probably have an issue with them being called the Negroes. You know what I mean? Especially if you had a bunch of white people on the team as well. Or no, or if you had a bunch of black people on the team. Like let's say the whole team was like a lot of NBA teams, majority are black. And then you got a team that's called the New York Negroes. That would kind of bother me. So I can in a way understand why people would get upset about it. But at the same time, I mean, the Redskins, the Indians, these guys had their names for so long, right? Again, Slave Leia, I think that was absolutely stupid. And Slave One, I think those are completely stupid things to change. Because one, you're talking about Leia, who was a slave for like what, 30 minutes of a movie? You know what I mean? And she ended up taken the guy who slaved her and killed her, and he got the slave one ship. Well, technically, he did like carry people around. You know what I mean? And you go back to history, right? Those ships that transferred us from Africa to America, those were considered slave ships, right? So it basically plays into that. But like Chris said, it has to do with the master drive and slave drive. That's how George Lucas got the name. It wasn't because of anything to do with slavery or anything like that. So I do agree that a lot of people are way too sensitive. I do think that um certain things can be just left alone. You know what I mean? If you don't like it, don't watch it. That's how it is. If you don't like it, but everybody feels now because of the internet, cancel culture, everybody has a voice and everybody has a way to say something and do something and get people riled up and then switch it up. You know what I mean? So I completely understand certain situations. And at the same time, I can understand Danny's situation too as well. You know what? If it's really that offensive to you, drop some money. Money heals all wounds, right? You say, hey, this is what we're gonna do to a foundation. We're gonna give you some sort of money, and I bet you that would shut up real quick. Hey guys, it's okay. Let them use the Indian name because they're paying us. So I don't know what would do to change it, but I do agree with people are too sensitive.
Okay. Good. It didn't type everything because I think it was too long, but one of those to leave it. So I have 4 things for that particular poll, guys. It's the people it's derogatory to. Leave it alone, but teach why it's bad, or why we shouldn't just use it openly, or just ban all uses. That's what those 4 comments are.
Wait. Shifty, are you saying that the American football team is better than the Redskins? That's like because they were a Washington football team, right? At one point, now they're what, the Commanders? But if you're saying that the football team was a better name than the Redskins, I disagree with that. Commanders is even worse than football team, to be honest with you. So,
all right. There's a lot of the stuff that's been said. Pay them. I guess it's one of the things. I would really like to know, though, like, I guess, if they have reservations and stuff, like Native Americans, you go to each Native American tribe and you say, we want to poll you. Does this bother you? Like slave 1, does it bother anybody who's any class of people who have been at one time or another? I mean, all nationalities have had some group of slave class, like that people have been enslaved. The Jews were enslaved by Germans, Romans enslaved tons of, Middle Eastern people, the Egyptians, enslaved people. It's not like a singular term that belongs to one group of people. So that's a little that's a little more just somebody being presumptive that I don't know this for sure, but I think that's people being presumptive that when you say slave, it only means one group of person, mostly blacks or African Americans. I don't know that for sure, but I think that they're worried that that's offensive to blacks, African Americans. Not positive, just saying. I think that's what they're thinking, when it really means that every major civilization has had some group of slaves, and it wasn't just one group of people that was throughout time. So, that's one of those ones that's like, okay, people, we teach properly how or what these terms meant or what they mean, and we try to say, listen, the terminology doesn't necessarily mean this when it's used this way. Like Danny said, knowing what you mean by it is sometimes just as important as thinking you know what it means. Redskins, the Indian stuff, that's really difficult. When something's been around for as long as it has, that's not necessarily an easy defense because, well, in the 40s and the 50s and stuff like that, we didn't necessarily give a crap what anybody said, especially if you want to think of it like white Anglo-Saxons. We were like, well, we don't care if it's offensive to them. We're still going to use it, So the Redskins, all of that, there might be some basis into that. But then, like I've said before with the Chiefs were named after Atro Bartle, which is a former mayor of Kansas City who went by the name Chief. So I don't know. There's appropriation across the board. I think it's something that people in the groups that might identify with it should have more of a say than anybody. If it doesn't offend them, or if they don't think it's a big deal, then why are we putting the time and effort to change all this stuff? 3 minutes talked about together. I mean, go back to that slave Leia thing. I mean, she made a good point. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, I was enslaved, but that was my liberation too. That was my motivation to do what her character did in the movie. But she didn't want to be that anymore, so she liberated herself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so there's got to be a bit of teaching in this. I mean, whenever I remember seeing Slave One or first heard the name, I don't think I thought of anything to do with enslavement of any group of person.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's just a name. It's a name on a ship. So,
yeah, and I agree with one thing you said. I think the people, like, let's say like the Redskins, you know what I mean? Then you should talk to the people who it affects. You know what I mean? And if they find out, or you get a majority vote that it's an offensive word to them, then here's what you do: you change the name. But I don't think you just make that decision without anybody, you know, like saying it's offensive. That's like speaking for people, you know. Again, I believe there was outrage about it. I can't remember, but I remember for a couple of months people were like, "Hey man, that's negative, that's negative." So I definitely understand that.
I think if I remember right, I think it was Redskins got more of a bad rap. I think the problem with the Indians was their mascot.
Mm.
But then again, when you hear why or what the Indians changed their name to, which is the Guardians, and then you hear the story behind the Guardians, which is the two stone statuettes on one of their bridges close by the stadium. They're called the Guardians, those two statuettes. So you give them credit for at least picking something that does have a meaning. The Commanders, you could say Washington because it's in Washington, D.C., the Commanders because the Commander-in-Chief lives there. That's fine. But I still stand by it. You should have just named them the Washington National Football Team because the baseball team's called the Nationals.
Commanders are growing. A lot of times it's like a song. You ever heard a song on the radio and you be like, man, that song. I can tell you, when I first heard the song, I was like, oh my God, why did Cisco do this? But after I heard it about 50 times, who that girl so scandalous, shit, I start singing the song and shit. So that's what I'm gonna say. At first, Commanders don't sound good, but I'm gonna give it 2 seasons. It'll be all right.
You just want the team to do well. You could care less what their name is.
I do. If they do good, then these Redskin fans will be like, oh, okay. But if they continue to do what they're doing now, so that's all. Man, there's a lot of stuff when you first hear it, you be like, I don't know about that. But then after you hear it for a while, you see it for a while. That's exactly what radio stations do. Some of these songs, you'd be like, what is this? But they get in the rotation so much, so you find yourself singing a song.
Yeah. Man, the chat rigged this. They picked the 2 tough ones. The last one's going to be the easy one here. Okay, so on that one, I said, who should decide if these terms are derogatory? 62% came out as the people it's derogatory to, which I don't disagree. I think there should be some form of teaching in it too, though. All right, we're just going to jump right into the next one. It's just as deep. I mean, so put your waders on. Right up until the late 80s, terms like cracker and the N-word, because I don't care if I'm reading it or not, because I'm not doing that. Were used by comics like Lenny Bruce, Richard Pryor, George Carlin, and Eddie Murphy. Do you believe the time has passed for the use of these words in comedy because it gives some people, the impression that they can have a pass? Is there a way to let people know that these terms shouldn't be used in general terms just because a comedian and an actor uses them?
Oh man, I wish I'd have got this one first.
You can go first if you want to, Danny. I'll give it to you if you want.
Oh yeah, I like this one.
All
right, go ahead.
Your turn, Danny. 3 minutes. Go.
See, this is bull crap right here because if you watch Archie Bunker, George Jefferson, sometimes the Good Times, that was some of the best. Fred Sanford, it was used and nobody was offended. The way they used it and the way they wrote it and stuff, it was something that people of either color could relate to. So I don't know why people are so sensitive now. Now I could see the word maybe and I'll spell it FAG,
Mhm.
GOT, but that was used back then too. I can remember some shows saying that,
Well,
but
wait a minute
now,
here.
go ahead.
I'm going to pause it real quick. My question isn't about that so much. You can continue to talk about that. My question, though, is does this give some people, and when I say some people, Anza knows who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Does it give people the wrong impression to think that it's okay in general terms? So, like, when you're out and about, you just say something. Because, like,
Yeah,
my younger son hangs out with a lot of people that use the N word. That, and when I say that, I mean, black people.
Black
I'm
people, yeah,
just going to be,
yeah.
yeah, okay. And I tell him, I said, I don't care if they say it's okay. I said, don't use it. Don't use it. I don't care if they say it's okay. That's what I tell him.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Because I don't want to get him to get in this lackadaisical idea that it's just okay in common practice. That's kind of where I'm going with this. But you can continue talking about the way you are, because that is part of this question too.
Okay.
Is go ahead.
But
Sorry,
like I said, those shows they showed it, and nobody was really crazy about it. Everybody knew the appropriate time, place to use it. Now, for every decision that an individual chooses to make, there's going to be consequences. Sometimes the consequences are positive, sometimes they are negative. If you go into a predominantly black neighborhood and you are not black and you start throwing that N word around, then there are probably going to be some negative consequences. I've told y'all the story of when I went to a all white party. I got out the car, I saw the rebel flag. That was the first indicator. But the person that invited me said, "Hey, everything cool." I went in there. I didn't say nothing crazy, but that's whether you want to believe the word right or wrong. You you gotta temper that all with common sense. There's certain situations you can't go in there saying stuff and doing stuff because the natives that are there might not like it, and you might find yourself on the bad end of a negative consequence. So just because you see something, and I've said this before, just because you can say something, you can do something, and can do something, doesn't mean that you must and you have to do something. So, um, in comedy, I kind of give comedians a pass based on how they set the joke up and how it's used. Sometimes you can tell it's just really funny and you can and relatable. Sometimes it's malicious. And the person that we talk about with the other channel, it was malicious. It was poor timing. You as the individual got to have enough sense to determine whether or not you're going to paint this picture and set it up that it's going to be funny and people can relate to it and it makes a point, or is it going to be something that's just mean spirited, or something that's going to be it's going to cause a lot of anguish and stuff. That was a bad joke. That particular premise of what he talked about was something that was heard all around the world, all around the country, and people were mad and up at arms. So, based on what I saw, another YouTuber talked about him. He decided to do that. So, if you decide to do that, then you can expect some negative consequences. If his butt can actually cash the check that his mouth wrote, then all I say power to him. More power to him. But you gotta have common sense. In everything that you do, you gotta have common sense. And if you have friends that doesn't look like you have to actually sit down and think, is this gonna hurt their feelings? Is this something that's gonna cause me some issues, cause me to lose a friendship? If you care, then of course you still if you care, you still can put it in a way that gets your point across, not be offensive. But if you don't, then what happened is what's going to continue to happen.
good, very good. Anzo, 3 minutes. Go.
So, first, let's just be real. The word cracker and the N word are totally different. The meanings, yeah, I mean, they're both supposedly derogatory, but the cracker word does not have the same effect on people,
Does
on
not
white
have the
people.
same weight.
Right, absolutely
You're
not.
right.
You know what I mean? But to the question is, I've always said that I think that, especially the N word, if we want it to be like strictly taken away, we don't want people to say it, then we have to stop saying it. We as black people have to be the ones to say, listen, we're not going to use this term anymore, and that's it. If we don't stop doing it, then it's going to make it seem like everybody else can do it. There are people out there that think they can do it. My son's generation, they don't have the same effect that the word does with my generation and above, my parents and grandparents or whatever. So they say it like it's nothing, like it's just another word, and that's the problem. And I think that along comes with the rap music. That's where it all came from because we made it seem like it was okay to run around and use the word nigga, 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 all up in your videos, all up in your songs. You know, you got us youngins up there singing the words and everything. And it basically desensitized the word from what the actual meaning is, what it does, the effect that it had on our grandparents and our parents and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, if we don't stop saying it, then it's just gonna keep going. We have to be the ones to start. We can't get mad and argue at people that be and granted, yes, a white person says the word, I understand 100% completely, get mad, get angry, but then again, you like there has to be some context. What if the person's singing the rap song that he likes? You know what I mean? And it has the word, and then he says the word, right? So there's a lot of context to it too as well, but I personally think that the only way to be ever rid of this is it has to be stopped by us, and until that day happens, then people are going to feel it's okay to say it, and I don't think that's right. And I don't think we as a people should be glorifying the word because it's not a term of endearment. It never has been, and it never should be. Now, I get it. It's taking away the power of the word, right? That's what it is. We take away the power of the word and we bring it to ourselves. But you have the jokes that people make, and it's not funny when they do it. You know what I mean? But they feel that they could do it because, hey, black people are doing it. You know what I mean? And supposedly the joke was between a white dude and a black dude, right? Backstage behind closed doors, that's good. But when you do something like that in public, you gotta expect that backlash is gonna come from it. It's just gonna.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy how it works.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see here. So the first thing is, like I said, even when I'm reading it, I mean, if you're reading something for the choice of something like what we're doing here, discussion, it's a question. I guess maybe there might be some, okay, I'm just reading from a script to it.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I don't feel comfortable doing it. Because to me, we should know better. I was taught by my mom and my dad what to say, what not to say, when, who you don't call certain things. Like, it didn't matter what I did. Like, man, I used to say some stuff that it wasn't derogatory per se, but it would just, my parents would teach me as I said it, sometimes with a slap in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't do that. I remember one time I was waiting to do, it was this like summer club thing, and it met where my dad worked, and so I was doing that instead of hanging out with my dad, and this bus was supposed to take us someplace for a field trip type thing. And it was like an hour late. And when I got on there, said, well, it took you long enough. My dad beat my ass because of that, because somebody told him about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A lot of this comes down to, again, teaching. And that's what I said. I know my son hangs around people that use that word, but I don't want my son to think that he can use it. Now, do I believe he doesn't? No, I don't believe he doesn't. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But I do try to explain to him, the more you use a term like that, the easier it is to just say it out someplace.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Anzo makes a very good point. If a term like that's to be stopped, then that means it needs to be stopped across the board. And maybe that's a little difficult because I don't know, most of the places I've heard it within the communities where it's accepted, it doesn't mean exactly the same thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like one of those things, you can say one word like fuck or fuck, and it means two different things.
Right.
So there's that side of it too. And again, I think that those terms, I mean, hell, we have tons of them. I told my son the other day that, a transport van or vehicle for a police department, for many, many years was called a paddy wagon. And where that term came from the fact that in places like Boston and New York, Irish people were called paddies, and the wagons that would come through would pick up the paddies in the paddy wagon, and so that term over time became something totally different than what it originally meant, because people just heard paddy wagon 1,000 times, and that became the term for that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, there is it desensitizes us to those terms, which isn't necessarily the greatest thing, because we should understand that we should grow past that. We're all people. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, if you watch this documentary, I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically something I seen with like the history of rap and industry, and they pretty much tell you that the industry was really pushing that gangster stuff. They were really pushing that, and before the gangster stuff, it was like Public Enemy, Chuck D, Dance, conscious stuff, right? Then once the gangster stuff started coming out, that's what they kept pushing. Then you started getting the bitches, the hoes, the money, get this, get the bag, and this and that, right? And they pretty much changed the rap game. Not only did they change the rap game, but they changed how people thought about certain things. So that's a problem.
Let me ask you this while we wait for Danny to come back. Then does that mean that Black African American people are to blame, though, for the overuse of it? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying, did they bring this upon themselves and they kind of create a monster, or is this something?
Here's the thing. You can always say that some of the blame goes on us, right? Because if you ever remember, and I don't know if you've seen it, but there was a movie called Hollywood Shuffle with Robert Townsend. That movie came out like what, 80s, 90s, and that's on the same kind of stuff that we talk about now, right? It was about the money. He wanted to be an actor. He got a role, and the role was pretty much degrading for Black people, right? And in the end of the movie, he ends up saying, he's like, oh, you'll never work in this industry again. The guy's like, well, there's always the post office, right? Now that's a movie, but in real life, someone giving you that bag, you're gonna do it. You know what I mean? And plus, I believe that when NWA and I say this, when those rap groups came out, gangster stuff and all of that, it wasn't necessarily to make us look bad. It was there to show people what was going on in their hoods in the area and what type of life they were living, right? But it was taken to an extent, because then you got some of the bad apples where it was just like robbing and killing and murdering and stuff like that. So it's not all us, because the industry, that's what they pushed and that's what they wanted the narrative to be. But we did co-sign with that. Absolutely. You got the money, get the money, you got the bag, and do what you got to do.
Gotcha. I mean, I don't know. I think that, but even then, who's in charge of that industry? Who's in charge of most of the record companies? There's the thing you got to think about.
Absolutely. You can talk about how Puffy, Dr. Dre, and Jay-Z, they all high up in their companies, but there's one person above them, and he don't look like us.
Nope, that's the thing. I mean, I think Shook is about the only one you could actually say may have kind of had his own thing. But even then, I don't know if he was getting money from a different side of it too. I don't know, but that's the thing. It's like, and I know you've said it a lot. It's like, hey, yeah, you can blame it on those guys, but there's normally somebody up higher.
Right. And the same thing with Death Row. Shook did own Death Row and everything, but you got to understand, like, as much as he owned, without the publishing, it didn't mean shit. And you got to go through some company, some record label to get that distributed.
That's true. So. Oh God.
Ask Ryan Kennel. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about this for a second more, just a little bit
Mhm.
more. I mean, and the question here was kind of directed to also to comedy, and I agree with like what Danny said about the fact that back in the '80s, watch that stuff, and everybody enjoyed the Jeffersons. Everybody enjoyed All in the Family, and even though it was used there, I think it was that it was kind of like everybody knew when and where you couldn't use it. Comedians would do it. Like I think one of the best skits out there was Richard Pryor and Chevy Chase on
Chevy
Saturday
Chase.
Night Live. And
Chevy
it's
Chase,
still to
yeah.
this day, I don't know if either one of them had ever said that was real animosity to each other, or if that was just scripted, because they took
Mhm.
it so far.
Mhm.
It's like, but we all kind of recognize that this is a skit. We
Mhm.
don't do this stuff. I
Mhm.
mean, yeah. So
Yeah, and it was great. It was, he say
yeah,
Negro, he says cracker. He says nigger, he
yeah,
says dead cracker. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
amazing one. But
But
you
that
see,
was. I mean,
and I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say, but you see, when it comes to comedy, I I don't know if I feel the same way as I do with the music though, right? Because they're comedians and they're supposed to make jokes and light about things, and I think they're
They
supposed to be.
are. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, I was just gonna say I think they should be able to say whatever they want to say and not have to worry about being censored or anything like that. So it's catch 22 kind of.
Yeah, their job is to take what's happening in society and put humor to it. So when they see racial problems, they're going to use that. I mean, the thing I love about Dave Chappelle is he is kind of taking this attitude of screw it.
Hmm.
Why should comedy change because everybody's too sensitive? And that's exactly what Danny was saying, is that we've gotten way too sensitive to this stuff because we're losing sight that when it's used in comedy and stuff, it is more a representation of things, not necessarily how we should be acting.
Hmm.
It's just trying to bring humor to things, and I don't think there's enough of it. Yeah, I mean, Richard Pryor's dead, George Carlin's dead, Lenny Bruce is dead, Eddie Murphy isn't, but Eddie Murphy even kind of went soft about it.
Hmm.
Although, I think he's kind of coming out of that now, and maybe it was about his kids then, but I don't know.
Hmm. Well, that's the reason why Eddie Murphy changed, because of the kids, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
he's supposed to come back, and well, for a long time he was supposed to do a new stand up. We've heard about it, and it never came or anything like that.
Yeah,
The
I don't
rumors.
know if it will or won't. I hope
Neither
it
do I.
does.
I kind of hope it does too, but I'm also worried that he's not going to be as edgy or as funny as he was in the 80s. And I don't want to see Eddie Murphy do a fucking stand up that I think is trash.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
What I miss?
Oh, just we just continue talking about it,
Mhm.
about and like about your point that I think people are just too sensitive about it, especially in comedy and that comedic style of stuff, because it's more of a call to what's happening in in society. That's why comedians point to that stuff, and that not so much how you should be acting. And
I
the
think
poll says, go ahead.
I think some comedians get more of a pass on some stuff and their delivery, and I keep going back to this guy, but like the Chappelle show, he doing some racy shit, and it was funny. But I think the reason why he didn't take that big money because they were like putting these damn well, you can't do this, you need to tone this and that kind of stuff down. Some of that comedian, as long as it's done in a smart way, in a funny way, and it's
Yeah,
done, it's spread over the whole spectrum, not just one particular group, but he was picking
yeah,
about white people, Italian,
yeah,
blacks.
yeah.
So as long as it's done like that, I don't have a problem with it. And like I said,
You can make fun of everybody.
now that I'm an adult, Archie Bunker, Sanford and Son, and the Jeffersons and Good Times were way ahead of their time.
Yeah,
Because some of the stuff they were using, when I look at it now, I'd be like, damn, I can't believe We saw this on TV, so
Mhm.
I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Yeah, for sure. The poll has time come for the use of the N word and cracker not to be used in comedy. 64% says no.
Good for you, chat.
Take it easy, guys. Scar. All right, the third one, I'm telling you, is a tough topic too. It's crazy, and I mean, I don't know. All right, here we go. What is the one movie or TV series you're looking forward to in 2023?
Oh my lord.
Simple. I was like, I can't have three like just kick your ass topics. I gotta have something that's less.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's good.
Anzo, Danny went first the first two times. Why don't you go ahead and go?
Yeah. I just don't know what the hell's coming out in 2023. Hold on, I'm looking.
I'm looking now.
Yeah. I'll pause it. Give you guys a second.
And then let me see what TV shows are coming out in 2023.
It said Craven, Quantumania,
Mm-hmm.
the new Transformers.
Fuck that.
It's Beast
Oh, I
Wars.
know what you guys are. I know what you guys are ready for. Barbie.
Really?
Absolutely not.
Man, you gotta scream Barbie. I'm telling you.
I'm like 2023. What this is giving me like things that came out this year. Okay, I think I got the movie I'm looking for, so we can go.
Yeah, a movie or a TV series. I don't care. Either or you can say one of each. I don't care. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm looking at the list, and I think the movie that and I just quick glanced at. There may be other ones like Quantum Ant-Man 3. That one looks like it's going to be really good because I really like Jonathan Majors, and I think he's going to be amazing as Kang, and I can't wait to see what he does as Kang in the different versions of Kang that we're going to see. But from this list that I'm seeing, just a quick glance, it's definitely John Wick 3. I cannot wait for John Wick 3.
I went 4.
Oh, 4, sorry.
Yeah,
John Wick 4. Seen the trailer for it, the little teaser trailer, and I was like, okay, I'm ready for this. I've enjoyed all 3 John Wick movies, and I think that's Keanu Reeves' role. You know what I mean? Like that's his role. And he kills it. So that's the one I'm looking forward to the most. I can't wait to see John Wick 3. I think it's gonna be lit. TV shows. I was looking at the list here, and it doesn't really look like there's much that I'm really excited for. Um, and this list is pretty much showing me like everything that's coming out came out last year, right? Oh, if it holds, right, as I'm looking now, it's definitely going to be Ahsoka. If it holds, Ahsoka comes out in 2023 like it's supposed to, that will be definitely the series that I'm most excited for. If you know me, the one thing I love about Star Wars is the space battles and the lightsaber battles, and I can't wait to see what they do with that. They're introducing Thrawn. You know what I mean? She's going to be looking for Ezra, so it's going to be really tied into Rebels, which I think is going to be absolutely amazing. So, other than those two things, really not much else I'm excited for. I think, well, there's a lot of Marvel stuff. I can't remember everything that came out um, with the con that happened, and they came out with all that stuff. Um, but a lot of it is 2024. You know, like Secret Wars. That's what I'm looking forward to. The Kang Dynasty. That's what I'm looking forward to. Fantastic Four comes out in 2023. If it does, then that's one of the ones I'm looking for. There's going to be a lot of good things that are coming out. I'm excited for this movie series. You know, I just wish we would get some good DC stuff coming out as well. But yeah, it's Ahsoka and it's John Wick 4.
Okay. Very good. Danny?
For the movies, I'm very interested in seeing Blade. I want to see if Marshall Ali can pull it off. I think the acting part of it he will crush. I just hope his acting I hope his martial arts is up to par with his acting because following Wesley Snipes is going to be a very, very, very tall order. But he has enough time. He has had enough time to be in the gym being with the martial arts choreographers or actual ones that's teaching him to he had enough time. He can't say I ain't had enough time. We announced this 2 years ago, so I hope he's been working on that. TV wise, I want to see Reacher season 2. First season of Reacher was fantastic. The guy they got for Reacher, man, that sucker, that's a bad motherfucker. Boy. That's all I can say. Man, about 6'5", 260, number of muscle and attitude, and show is fantastic. Good cast. So, and I'm like Anzo, I want to see Ahsoka. She is going to be one of my favorite characters in the Star Wars universe. She's definitely in my top 5. Um, so those shows, anything Star Wars, even a little interested. I won't say excited, but highly interested about the Bad Batch season 2. I want to see what has come of that. It didn't start off was like meh, but as the series continued, man, it got better. And like I said, Omega, we all didn't like her at first, but man, she became one of the fan favorites near the end. I think the last 2 episodes were really good. The dynamic between the clones, Crosshair, he's kind of like he want to come back, and he may come back. I'm not certain. So I'm a little interested in seeing how they're going to take that and what direction it's going to go on. But definitely, yeah, David Q said it best. If the guy plays Homelander, if he plays Dracula in Blade, that's going to be awesome. That alone right there is going to really bring star power to that episode, and I hope that he does because I think him and Mahershala Ali will definitely play off each other. Kevin Feige, I think if they leave him alone, that could be a very, very good movie. So I'm definitely more interested in seeing that if the Homelander actor plays in that. That'll make it much, much better. But yeah, those are my 2 main ones: Blade, Reacher 2, and Ahsoka. 3 things I want to see. Cool. Ready for it. 2023.
All right. Okay. So I'll go through the movies I see here really quick. The first one up on here is Oppenheimer, which is about Robert Oppenheimer, the guy that kind of helped create the
nuclear bomb.
I'm big into like, I think it's going to be historical fiction. It's done by Tenet, Christopher Nolan.
So, when I went to go see Nope, sorry for cutting you off, Chris. They played the teaser trailer, and I was like, "Oh, interesting! I might see this."
Yeah, I mean, I like that type of stuff, so I probably want to see that. I can't believe they're coming out with another Dungeons and Dragons movie. John Wick 4, absolutely, definitely. Ant-Man, I'm looking forward to that. Galaxy 3, maybe The Expendables, but Blade's a big one right there. Indiana Jones 5. I'm an Indiana Jones fan, so I'm going to have to go see that. Let's see here. Creed 3. That'd probably be pretty good. I'm always a Fast and Furious guy. So Fast 10's coming out. Then this one, Wonka. It's like a story focused specifically on young Willy Wonka and how he met the Oompa Loompas. So
yeah, I'm good.
I like those things. Untitled Super Mario Project. Interesting if that comes out. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Salem's Lot, a redo of it. We'll see. Haunted Mansion, they're going to redo that one, too. Oh, God. Jeez. Blue Beetle, if it comes out, maybe. Cocaine Bear. Interesting. No, but, and then definitely Ahsoka for the series. I hope they do the Rangers of the New Republic still, but I don't know if they will. But yeah, I think Ahsoka is like the big one next year that I'm really looking forward to. I'm looking through it. You know, the Acolyte, depending on how they do it, I think my little idea of having Reva become the acolyte or like something like that, kind of tie that in there, maybe not. I don't know. Secret Invasion is supposed to come out next year. That's a possibility. It just depends. I mean, like Danny says, you got to watch the first one, and if I'm gonna do something, if I start watching it, I'll finish it no matter how crappy it is. I kind of am like Terrence in that, except for
So you finished
I saw
Batwoman?
like 5 minutes. Yeah, I watched 5 minutes of Batwoman. I didn't even get a chance to finish the episode, so I didn't feel obligated to watch the rest of the series. Like I cannot believe he did that to himself. I mean, dude, listen. You can take knives and stab yourself too. That doesn't mean you should.
Hey, listen.
All right.
If I love Marvel, but when they did Inhumans, I watched like the first episode of that, and I was like, "No, I'm good.
Yeah, no.
I'm good."
I know that Dandelion mentioned something about the. I wonder if Daredevil is supposed to have a new series.
Mm-hmm.
I am very interested about them bringing that to the MCU and seeing what Feige and his team does with it.
If they bring that story like it is in the comic book, it is gonna be hell.
Yeah.
I
didn't. Go ahead.
I don't know how they're gonna do it, because in season 2 he figured out that Murdoch was Daredevil. In this particular storyline, someone's supposed to sell him the information, but I don't know how they.
I don't know yet. That's the thing. I'm not sure how much of the old storyline and stuff they're going to use, or if it is going to be like Dandelion said, a reboot. Which, if it's a reboot, I give them props on at least understanding that people like D'Onofrio and what's his name that plays Murdoch. Anyway, they've got the right 2 actors for it. So
I'm not a big fan of the guy that plays Daredevil, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, not a big fan of him. And my biggest issue is Marvel is running it now. So they are going to go with the same formula, and I think they're going to make it watered down from what it was from the Netflix series. And I'm not.
That'll be bad if they do that.
They're going to have to water it down. They can't be that valid on Disney Plus.
Yeah, they're going to water it down. That's going to be an issue.
They could if they wanted to. I don't know, man. Because again, Moon Knight wasn't all that. I was surprised at some of the stuff. Obi-Wan they cut limbs off. It's like but you can do it. You can do it.
You never saw any blood like that. I mean,
that's how they get away with it. It's like the old Mortal Kombat. You'd have to put the code in to get the blood, and they thought that would stop us. No, Netflix. Blade. I'm wanting Blade, because if Blade is done right and done well, then I have hope for moving everything else to a R-rated structure that needs to be moved to an R-rated structure. If they bomb on Blade, they're going to pull it so quick. They're going to say, nope, we're not doing this again.
Mm-hmm. So if it doesn't, if they decide to make it R-rated and it doesn't make as much money, you're right. They'll probably abandon the R-rated stuff. Mm-hmm. But again, they could kind of do the stuff they did in Multiverse of Madness. I would be okay with that if they did it like that with Blade, right? But or even the Daredevil. But it's just they do this thing with the humor and try to make it too funny. And the first 3 Daredevil seasons weren't like that. They were dark and they were edgy. So if you're gonna do like season 4, if that's what this is, then you got to keep that, and I don't see them doing that.
It'd be difficult.
I'm looking up the director, and Blade. He only made 6 movies, so that ain't
not appealing, eh?
That'll make me give it a lot of hope. If he was like a seasoned actor or something like, not James. What's the guy that did?
Snipes?
No, what's
Or
the guy
who?
that? What's the guy that did the last Spider-Man movie? I mean, Doctor Strange movie.
Sam Raimi.
Yeah, if it
Yeah.
was like him, I'd be very, very, very.
Well, give it time. Because Sam Raimi wasn't the first guy on Doctor Strange, and they brought him in.
I know what I'm saying. I don't trust this. But Blade's already been made though. Or damn
Has it?
near. I think it's damn near about finished.
All right. All right, guys. You know what time it is. It's the time we all wait for. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now for the moment that everyone's been waiting for. It's Chaos Central's Final 5 Fact or Fiction. Yes, 5 questions. The only answers are fact or fiction. That's it. That's all we can say. There's no, well, I don't know. I just want to skip. No, we don't do that. We give a fact or fiction, and we take that, and when we come up with an answer, we tally it up. If we were right, we get a point. If we were wrong, we don't get a point. If it becomes irrelevant, we don't count it against anybody. So right now, the whole thing hinges on this. Danny's at 36. Anzo's at 30. I am at 32. We are both at the mercy of Danny, who somehow has cracked the answers or something. I don't know. Maybe.
I call it karma. Lord say, there's 2 of them against one of you, Danny. I will bless you with the correct answers.
We'll see.
Thank you, Lord.
It ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. You know what I mean? And I just remember someone in the fantasy league speaking a little bit too soon. So
yeah, but
kind of situation.
There's an end to the fantasy league. These questions keep going. When the end gonna come?
Yeah, I feel you.
Can't hear you.
I don't know. I don't know.
Can't hear you, Chris.
Oh, Chris.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I don't know what's going on. I was going to say, don't know. Maybe it'll be 100. Maybe the first person to know 100 and then we'll restart. Maybe first person to 50. I don't know. It won't be 50 because he's too close.
Yeah, for real.
I agree. So yeah, let's do 50. I'll do that.
Okay, we'll take a vote. Anzo, should it be 50?
Oh,
absolutely not.
Okay, I don't think so either. You're outnumbered, Danny. So,
wow.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. Andor is coming out September 21st. With all that we've seen, several villains are inexplicably missing. Fact or fiction? Moff Tarkin will appear in Andor. Danny.
Fact.
Oh, okay. Anzo says fact.
Fuck it.
I say fiction.
Fiction, man.
You know
I'm
what?
gonna
I think I'm gonna
say fact.
You're gonna go fact. I'm gonna switch to fiction because putting him in there is gonna be expensive.
Oh God.
Well, maybe, but it's not like they won't do it. But okay. Okay.
Yeah, you see, I'm questioning my shit now. You know what? Put me back to fact. Fuck it.
And be yourself, man.
There we go.
All right.
All right.
Question number 2. During the San Diego Comic-Con, it was believed that DC were going to introduce Henry Cavill's return as Superman. This will be introduced as Superman by or at DC fandom. Anzo.
Fact.
I think it's fact also. I think there's too much smoke, but whatever.
Make that 3.
All right, question number 3. Andor is coming out, blah, 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 all the same stuff. Director Krennic will appear in Andor.
I don't even know who that is.
That was the other bad guy, not named Darth Vader in that movie.
The one that spoke to Darth Vader and Darth Vader choked him?
Yes.
Okay.
To my little white coat, whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Him,
I'm
I'll
going to
say.
say fact.
Yeah, him will say fact too.
Okay, Danny?
I don't care. Fuck. Fact, I guess.
Okay. Question number 3 is, by now we've all seen the Will Smith apology. With everything said in that video, people are wondering, Will Smith and Chris Rock Will Smith and Chris Rock will make amends in the next year? Danny?
Fiction.
You say fiction? Okay.
I'm going with fact.
I believe still to some extent it was staged, so I'm going to say fact. I'm going to say they're going to resolve it somehow or another, whether or not it was staged or not. I still believe that perhaps, Chris Rock's going to look at it and go like, okay, maybe you just lost your mind and let's try to figure this out. That's what I think. So, all right.
I think Chris Rock is milking it. And I think
yeah.
he's going to milk it for at least another year.
Okay, that's fine. Last one. The Andor question again. Fact or fiction, Darth Vader will appear in Andor.
Fiction.
Fiction.
Fact.
Fact. I'm going to go fact. I got fact on all of these, so. All right, it's locked in.
Now, appear and mention are two different things.
Yeah. And it has to be new Darth Vader scenes. Can't be like flashback or some bullshit.
Well, okay. I would agree to some extent with the but I mean, it could be like a hologram just for a second, like the Emperor.
Yeah. Hologram.
Okay,
yeah.
But no,
it has
okay,
to be new, though. Because we said it had to be new with Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
So it has to be new scenes with Vader.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
all right, there you go.
Mentioned though, that ain't appear.
No, that's not appearing.
No, absolutely not.
Appear. Appear means actual appearance, not Vader won't be pleased with you. Yeah, no. Okay, so Danny's fiction, fact, fiction. Anzo's fact, fiction, fact. And I am straight up factual. All right, there you go. We saved it, closing it. And that's the show for the night, guys. Thank you very much. Just over an hour. Like it when we hit that right at that hour mark. So, guys, thank you for being here. Go ahead and talk about your channels one more time. Start with you, Nzo.
What's up, guys? Biggaford Entertainment. Like I said earlier, no OOC tonight, but we will be back next week. I don't know. See you guys Friday for the tournament. As long as everybody's available, we will be finally doing the chocolate bar tournament.
Awesome. Shooty gives and says, fact, 12 episodes, he's got to show up. And then he says, Krennic will appear.
Because this is a spinoff of Rogue One, right?
Well, no, it happens before Rogue One, but it is the Rogue One characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he only showed up in the last few seconds of Rogue One, so I don't think he'll show up at all on this.
Oh, but listen, it was because he showed up in the last few seconds that Rogue One was considered like an awesome movie by some, not Anzo, but
definitely not. Nope.
All right, Danny, go ahead and tell everybody about yourself.
I'm Danny, aka Comic Chat. You can find me here Monday through Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Times, most of the time. Like I said, we got some roundtables coming up. She-Hulk, Andor. I can't think of the other one that's coming up, but basically, just check us out. OC, Guy Scar usually does the hangout, but I think, Death in the Family, he's going to be on the road here shortly, what he told me. Friday, we should be doing the candy ranking. That should be interesting. And hopefully here in the next few weeks, we'll be starting back with square one because football season is starting to gear up. So good show, Chris. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. I am Chris Knight. The Real Review 3000 is my channel. Working on the Rumble coming back. Working on Name That Tune coming back. Working on some rants. Hopefully here before too long that's going to happen. And then I think also right about the time Andor comes out is when The Masked Singer starts back up. And if you like The Masked Singer, by any chance, I do Unmasking The Masked Singer. So we'll be back on that sometime next month. So next month and months coming after that are going to be crazy because there's going to be a lot of stuff to do. So, and then like Danny said, Square One, got all sorts of stuff out there, guys. Check out everything. You see the people on here. Check out everything they do. Everybody does great stuff. Everybody wants candy. Candy wants candy.
Mm-hmm.
I want candy.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Peace.
Peace.